subscribe and click the bell icon to turn on notifications.
Hello everyone and welcome to this video tutorial on using the new let function in Excel. Now the let function is part of the text group of functions, and what it does is it allows you to assign names to calculation results inside a formula. So for example, if you find yourself writing the same expression multiple times in a formula, let basically allows you to name the expression, and then Excel will calculate the result using the name. Now I realize this is quite hard to understand without seeing a demo, so let's dive straight into our first example. So let's start out super basic, just using one named variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click in my spreadsheet in a random cell and type in equals let to start off our formula. Now you'll see the arguments for let underneath, and the first argument is name1. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm naming a variable and then I'm assigning a value to that variable. So if we start out really basic, I'm going to give my first variable a name and I'm going to call it x. And you can call this whatever you like. Press comma. I now need to assign a value to that variable. So I'm going to say that x equals 10, comma. You'll see the next argument along is calculation or name2. So I can carry on going defining variables, or I can perform a calculation. Now as this is a one variable example, I'm going to perform my calculation. So bearing in mind that I've defined that x equals 10, my calculation might be x plus 5. So essentially what I'm doing there is I'm using that named variable. So the result that I would be expecting here is a result of 15 because x equals 10 and I'm adding 5. Let's close the bracket and see what we get. And that is exactly right. So let's now do this again, but let's add in two variables this time. We're going to start out the same. I'm going to say x, and the value for x is 10. But this time I'm going to say that I want a variable called y, and the value assigned to that is going to be 2, comma. Now I could carry on going, adding in more variables. And with the let function, you can add up to 256 pairs. So I've got my two variables there. I'm now going to perform a calculation. So for this one, I'm going to say x plus y. So again, what I'm doing there is 10 plus 2, so I'd expect the answer to be 12. Let's do one more basic example, equals let. This time we're going to use three named variables. So x is going to be 10, y is going to be 2, and let's say that z is 3. So now I'm going to perform a calculation, but for this one, I'm going to put the first part in brackets because I want to do x divided by y, and then I want to plus z. So this computes to 10 divided by 2, which is going to give me 5. I'm then going to plus 3, so I'm expecting my answer to be 8, which it is. So this is basically how the let function works. It kind of reminds me in some ways of named ranges. And you'll see in the following examples, you don't just have to assign whole values or constants, you can assign ranges to variables as well. And the cool thing is that once you've defined these variable names using the let function, they're then available throughout the workbook for reuse. Another cool thing about the let function is that you can see all of your variables defined within the formula. There's no hunting around trying to see what variable refers to which value or which range of cells. So with all that said, let's move on to taking a look at some practical task-based examples. So in this example, I have some employees and I have their current salary. Now all of these lucky people are going to be receiving a $2,000 bonus. So I'm going to use the let function to calculate what the salary is going to be once the bonus has been added. So let's click in cell D4 and type in equals let. Now I'm going to set up my first variable, and this is going to be the bonus. So I'm going to give it a name of bonus. And I said that the bonus is going to be the value of 2,000. So I'm going to type that in, comma. Now that's actually the only variable that I want to use in this example. What I now want to do is do a sum calculation, which is going to be C4, the salary, plus my variable name, which is bonus. And you can see as I start to type that in, because I've defined the variable, IntelliSense will pick it up, so I can double click to select that from the menu, 2 brackets on the end, and hit enter. I'm going to double click to drag that down and then also apply some currency formatting. So that's a very simple practical example. Let's take this on a stage and move on to example 2. So here we have something a little bit more complicated. We have a list of travel companies and we have the total sales that they have generated for Q1 of 2019. Now what I want to say here is if the total, when I add up all of these sales, is greater than $300,000, I need to apply a 10% sales tax. However, if the total of these figures is less than $300,000, it's only going to be a 5% sales tax. Now this is essentially an if calculation. Now we could work this out using sum and if. So let's do that first, and then I'll show you the difference using let. So I'm going to type in equals if and open my bracket. Now before I run with this if formula, the first thing I want to do is sum together all of those sales. So I'm going to jump straight into sum, open bracket, C4 to C9. I'm then going to carry on with my if formula. So I'm still in the logical test part, so it's going to sum C4 to C9 first, and I want to say if the result of that sum is greater than 300,000, comma, if that is true, I want the formula to sum C4 to C9 and multiply it by 10%. If it's false, I want to sum C4 to C9 and multiply it by 5%. And hit enter. I'm going to apply some formatting so this is a bit easier to see, and let's take those decimal places down. And just to check that this formula is working, I am actually going to sum these figures so we can see what the total is. And the total here is 362. So this is in fact greater than 300,000, and so a 10% sales tax has been applied. And I think most of us can work out off the top of our heads that 36,200 is 10% of 362,000. So that's the way we would do it with sum and if. Let's now redo it using let. So I'm going to type in equals let, open bracket. Now one thing you might have noticed with that previous formula is that 3 times throughout this formula I summed those total sales. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to set that up as a variable. So I'm going to call my variable sales, and the value I'm going to assign to it is the sum of the total sales, comma. I'm now going to add in an if calculation. Now because my sum calculation is named sales, it means I just need to type in sales greater than 300,000. If that's true, I want to do sales multiplied by 10%. If that's false, I'm going to do sales multiplied by 5%. And 2 brackets on the end. Let's hit enter, and you can see that we get exactly the same result. Now if I just jump up and just show those formulas side by side, you can see that they're not much different in length, but the good thing about the let formula is that it's a lot easier to understand. So I can look at the start of this formula and I can say, okay, the sales variable is basically this sum calculation, C4 to C9. I'm then using the result of that sum calculation in the rest of my if formula. And if I wanted to, I could essentially reuse that variable, that sum calculation, elsewhere within the workbook. Let's take a look at one more example. So here I'm going to use the filter function in Excel to filter the data in the table on the left and only return records that match the filter criteria that I have in the middle. Now currently I don't have anything in my filter criteria, so let's add something. So maybe I'm interested in the North block and the subject of history. So basically I want to filter this list with these pieces of criteria. Now, of course, we all know how to filter lists. We've done this a million times before. We can click in our table of data, jump up to the data tab and apply column filters. And then we could go in and filter this way. So I could select North, click on OK, select history, click on OK, and I basically have my results. But there are some disadvantages to this. And one of them is that you have to filter your data wherever you have those column headings. So it's not particularly flexible when it comes to where those filter results are going to appear. Now, one of the newer functions in Excel is the filter function. And the cool thing with functions is that you can use them in any cell in the workbook. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the filter function first of all to filter this list based on my criteria, and then I'm going to show you how you can combine it with a function like let to make it all a little bit easier. So first of all, let's just do the filter function on its own. I'm going to type in equals filter, open brackets. My first argument is array, so this is going to be all of the data that I want to filter, A2 to C12, comma. I then need to start to enter my pieces of filter criteria. And if I have more than one, which in this case I do, they need to be contained within brackets. So my first piece of filter criteria is the block. So I'm going to select the block range, and this needs to equal whatever is in cell E3. Now, I'm not going through and locking these cell references. You might want to do that if you're doing this for real. Close off my bracket. I'm going to add my second piece of filter criteria, and I need to separate these with an asterisk. So the next one is subject. So let's select the subject range equals whatever is in E6. Close my bracket, comma. Finally, I need to tell Excel what I want it to do if no records are found. So if nothing matches my criteria, I just want Excel to output no records. And that goes in quote marks. Hit enter and you can see it's pulled back North and history, and I do only have one entry for that. And the cool thing is everything here is dynamic, so if I change this to South and history or South and English, for example, it doesn't find any records, maybe something like maths. So on and so forth. So with that in mind, let's take a look at how we might construct this using our variables and the let function. So I'm going to do this again. I'm just going to copy these headings down here to make this easier to understand. And let's say equals let, open bracket. Now the first thing I selected in that filter function was all of the data in this table. So I'm just going to call this variable table, and the value I'm going to assign is this cell range just here. Comma. The next thing I did was I utilized my filter criteria to select the block and the subject ranges. So I'm going to type in block as my name, comma, and that's going to equal this range. And then we're going to have sub for subject, and that's going to equal this range. So I've set up all my variables. Once I've done that, I'm now going to complete my filter formula utilizing those variables. So the first thing it wants is the array. I've named that, so I can just use the name, table, comma. Now I need to specify my filter criteria, and if you remember, they go in brackets. So I'm saying the block range A2 to A12 needs to equal whatever is in cell E3. That's my first piece of criteria. I'm going to add my second, separating them with an asterisk. Sub for the subject range needs to equal whatever is in cell E6. Close my bracket, comma. What do I want it to say if it can't find any matching records? No records. And hit enter. Now I think I've missed off a bracket there, so I'm going to say yes to accept the correction. And there we go. So the filter still works, and let's just check that. Let's change this to West and let's say English. And even if I was to change the data in the table, so for example, if I change this one to English and hit enter, you can see everything dynamically updates. So let's jump into formulas and just show those formulas again side by side. You can see that the let formula is quite a bit longer in this case, but as I said, this can be so helpful to you in your workbook in general because it means that you can utilize these variable names in different calculations and in different parts of the workbook. So that's it. That's a whistle-stop tour of some examples of how to use let in its most simple form, and then how you can combine let with other functions in Excel to make some really nice complex calculations. I hope you enjoyed that. That's it for now. I will see you in the next video.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To get 4 free courses in Excel, QuickBooks, Microsoft Project, and Photoshop, click over there. And click over there to see more videos from Simon Says It.